What you're seeing here is basically a dashboard that we built, just a way to help us visualize the data. So it's about 1,000-acre lake. The stats on the left here tells you basically high level what's happening in the tournament. So we have 60 anglers reporting, 298 total trips, 41 zero trips, which is a really important stat. There's been 1,178 fish caught over 1,153 hours, with an average catch rate of 1.13. And as you can see, there's no secret spots given away here. That stuff we all keep private. But this is the sort of information that we want to be sharing with the researchers, because this is the valuable information. So let's jump into the length analysis. And so one of the first things we want to do is we want to see what the length distribution looks like. This graph here shows you the length of the bass being caught, and you can see there's two strong age classes there. One of the things we like to do is see how similar the data sets are. The electrofishing, which is what Danny went out and did, and then you can see how well our distribution compares, and it lines up pretty well. And essentially this says how tight together is the distribution. But what we've done is we've traced it day by day. Essentially at this moment, we've got 10,039 fish estimated, and we've had 24 tags reported.
What does it mean if you're catching a bunch of fish and none of them are tagged versus catching a whole bunch of fish and there's a ton that are coming in that are tagged?
If you're getting a lot of tagged fish, then your estimate of the population will be quite small, because it means that of the 218 fish represented a larger proportion of the population. The fact that we keep going up and up and up and our standard error isn't tightening indicates to me that this population is quite large, and tagging 218 made it trickier to get a tight estimate, because there's so many fish in this lake. We would have needed more tags out there to tighten that up. But we'll see. We still have 1 week left, and more fish will be caught. So it'll be interesting to track this over the next week. It was difficult for me to have an expectation of how many bass were in the lake, because like I said, we've talked about doing tag recapture projects and getting an idea of how many bass are in the lake, and we just never put out the resources to do this. I would have guessed there was maybe 10,000 bass, but that's a lot of bass, and we're talking about bass that are 8 inches and larger. So this doesn't include all the juveniles, which obviously there's tens and, might be 10,000 of those or more. So I really was kind of naive. Just knowing that is enlightening. And that will give me an idea going into future mobile app tournaments or other lakes. Gives me a starting point for what I can expect in a fairly productive lake, how many bass are out there. The other thing I'd say is the smallmouth fishery. We electrofish in the lily pad areas of the bays. And when there's, rocky banks that are steep with lots of docks, traditional smallmouth habitat, we don't electrofish as well. So smallmouth can be trickier to sample. And I had no idea that there was this many smallmouth of all these different sizes in Newman until we did this tournament. So those are the two things that jumped right out, is the proportion of smallmouth, the fact that there's multiple year classes, that they're spawning successfully in that lake, and just having a rough idea of how many bass are in that water is really going to help us in the future to develop more ideas about what kind of information we want to collect. And, just overall, I think we have a hard time connecting with our angler base. A lot of times we do our work, they go and fish tournaments. To be able to partner on something like this is just, there's a lot of intangibles there. It's hugely valuable. I think bass anglers really appreciated this opportunity. So a lot of positives to take away from this. And I couldn't be more happy with how things have gone.